Hello, everybody, and welcome to the TARDIS Zone. This is the TARDIS Zone Talks. Well, today has been a very eventful day. I turn on the phone because I don't have the phone on. To knock the phone off now. And when I knocked it on, I was getting notification after notification after notification. Loads of people texting me, DMing me. Asking me to stream on the news. We have a statement from the BBC. We have a statement from RTD. Well, when I say we have a statement from RTD, it seems to me a bit of a fuck you to Doctor Who fans, and it looks like he honestly doesn't give a shit. We'll get into that. But I want to start off the stream first because Lee, problem being, has just reminded me of this, and you will all remember if you were in the chat. So RTD gone, as I first broke on January 6th last year on Noel Zone's The TARDIS Zone. Bad Wolf gone, their contract cancelled years early, long overdue. Good. BBC tendering the show, that's code for cancelled, at least for now. BBC, then he tagged BBC, at BBC, learn from this, give it a long rest. Now, you all remember that stream with Lee, and Lee, at the time, was the person that was talking about Bad Wolf were gone and stuff like that. Again, you know, with Dan's channel as well, breaking the news that he's been breaking and stuff. People like Lee, Dan, and of course myself have never gotten credit for being honest with you guys and being truthful. The bottom line is, as I said, when I stood up for Dan as well, I made it very clear that Dan doesn't put out stuff on his channel unless he unless he knows that the information that he's getting is solid. Because if you get good information, the thing about it is, you know, you get an indication that you're onto something, because then other people then that originally were saying stuff then start to get filtered through on information, and then there's leaks and stuff like that, as you know. And then the media kind of are the ones then that kind of indicate it all together. But I just wanted to mention Lee because he was on this channel. He did say, because we were talking about the future of Doctor Who, and he made that statement on this channel at the time. And I do remember that there was a few people that were hoping it was true. Well, today, unfortunately, it has come true. And I say unfortunately because I'm not sitting here gloating that Doctor Who is off air. It's a sad time if you're a Doctor Who fan. We did see this coming, of course, but the bottom line is this, is that, you know, we've got a show that we fell in love with all over again that's gone, you know, and it's gone because it was mishandled. Now, we'll start off with the BBC statement. And then we will go into the RTD one. But I just want to say out straight. I did a video where obviously I did the live stream where I defended Dan, and I called out certain channels out there for putting false information in relation to the show being put on hold because you are waiting on Billie Piper. And as I said at the time, it was an absolutely stupid thing to say, because at the bottom line is they're not holding that up for Billie Piper, right? So I hope that channel out there that was using their clickbait thumbnails and was putting out absolute bullshit, and then was going and putting their videos, or getting people to put their videos in another channel's chat, in another channel's comment section, right? I hope you apologize to your subscribers today, but I know what type you are, because you're trying to be somebody. So you won't apologize, but you'll come up with some other bullshit. And this is the bullshit that they'll probably most likely come up with. As you know, a deal was made for Doctor Who that's already out there from 2005 to all the way up to BBC Doctor Who, and then the Disney Who is a different animal altogether, and AMC, right? So now these gobshites are going to deflect now, and they're going to start talking about AMC, they haven't announced that, and blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing, RTD puts that to bed, and the BBC put that to bed. The show has been put out to tender, okay? So that means nobody has actually picked it up. So if these channels now starts changing the narrative and spinning the narrative and telling you that AMC is preparing the deal and all of this, they're only speculating. They're only making shit up for clicks, okay? And you need to understand that. And the cheek of this particular channel, apparently calling this channel a loudmouth channel. Yes, I am loud. But one thing that I am is, when it comes to Doctor Who rumours, whether it's guests on my channel or whether it's me, I'm the fucking goat, and you don't fucking mess with me or any people that I fucking associate with, because we just try to put out the truth there. We are honest to our subscribers. We don't tell lies for clicks and clickbait, right? We're not about that. We're not chasing an audience. We're not chasing viewers, okay? We put out what we're given, right? And as I said, we always make sure before we put anything out, and it goes for anybody that does this, right, that does it properly, right? We don't put any information out until we do our own research, because there's always whispers out there. That's the thing. There'll always be whispers out there. And if you get a piece of information, you can go and look in places, right? And this is the way the game works. But there's some people out there that are chasing audience, they're chasing views, right? And they literally do anything to get that audience and those views, right? So just be careful who you listen to out there, right? We're going to read the BBC statement anyway. And I have to say something, because I'm sick and tired of people attacking people that I know, or attacking even this channel, right? The bottom line is, as I said, you know, we've been doing this a long time, right? Anybody that's been with this channel, right, knows what we're about and knows how we go about things. And the other channels that do it right as well, those people know that the people that are putting out the information are trustworthy, right? Anyway, today we are announcing an update on the plans for the future of Doctor Who. As part of securing the next phase of the show for future generations, and in line with BBC's charter and agreement requirements, the BBC will put Doctor Who out to competitive tender this year. Doctor Who remains an important part of the BBC, and this tender underpins the BBC's continued commitment to Doctor Who, ensuring audiences will enjoy the show for years to come. Right? Now, I have always stated on this channel that BBC are desperate for this show to work and do want it to actually continue. So that has been confirmed, right? So they say after this, after careful consideration, the BBC, Russell T Davies, and Bad Wolf have collectively decided not to go ahead with the previously announced Doctor Who Christmas episode. So as I said, the channels out there that were preaching that production was put on hold for Billie Piper, and then desperately then trying to thread it all together to make it look like that they were telling the actual truth. And then it was actually after they released that video, by the way, it was actually funny, because when they released their live stream and told everybody that they were wrong, right, that they were the channel that had the source information, it was announced then that Billie Piper was doing Dragon Con in September, which fucked up the whole timeline, right? Fucked up this channel's whole timeline. right? As I said when I did my stream, right, there was no way that BBC were holding up the show for Billie Piper. That was just a stupid fucking thing to say. And to be honest with you, it's the most stupidest thing that I've heard in all the years that I've been doing this. And we've heard some whoppers on this channel, we have. But that had to be the biggest fucking laugh that I had. I actually had a laugh with another fellow YouTuber about it. It was absolute. We couldn't stop laughing. We fell around laughing that someone would actually make that shit up and put it out and then beat their chest out and say that their sources were telling the truth and they have the real story. I don't listen. Everybody in the Doctor Who community is welcome, yeah, and anybody can do their channel kind of the way they want to do their channel. But if you're dishonest, right? If you're dishonest and you're doing it not for your audience, but you're doing it for yourself and your own personal glory, well, then you're not doing it for the right reasons, and that's why nobody should listen to you. Because, you know, we've got a fella in America called Doomcock who's done the same for years and has actually made a living off it. And unfortunately, instead of being called out and being reprimanded for it, you know, some people will defend them. And that's the kind of world we live in now. You can actually cheat in life now. You can actually go and tell complete and utter lies and make a shit ton of money off it and nobody will bat an eyelid. And it's absolutely disgusting. The moral compass of society has completely shifted, right? Anyway, after careful consideration, as I said, they've collectively blah, 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 right? So this decision apparently was not taken lightly. And we all know it's disappointing for fans. Well, I do know that the LGBTQ plus brigade are very disappointed. And while some are blaming RTD, the majority of them are still blaming Disney, and this isn't on Disney, by the way. This was on RTD. RTD decided to use Doctor Who as a vehicle to push his own agenda on the show. He also came out with the statement that Doctor Who was a queer show, and I wouldn't be surprised if the bosses at BBC weren't happy about that. Okay, Doctor Who isn't a queer show, and I don't care who that offends. Doctor Who is a science fiction show about a Time Lord who travels through time and space and saves people and saves planets and goes on adventures. Right, that's it. It's a simple fucking brief. Right? He also dumbed down the fucking show, just like Chibnall dumbed down the show. Right? We warned you about this anyway, right? Nobody can be surprised today. And if there are people that are surprised, well, then you must have buried your head in the fucking sand for the last few years, because it was obvious where this was going. It was obvious where this is going. Now, finger pointing will happen, right? And we'll get the blame as well. Remember that. Fans like us now will get the blame for this, right? But it's not on any of you fans, right? You fans are also passionate that you spoke up about what was going wrong with the show, and you had every right to do that, including myself. And people mightn't like the way I went about things the last 10, 11 years, but I don't give a fuck. That's how I do things, right? That's how I get my message across. Other people like to be a bit more reserved and a bit more professional. I don't care about professionalism, right? I wear my heart on my sleeve and I say it as I fucking say it. And if people hate me for that, that's fine. Hate me for it. But I warned yous, right? I warned yous. I was so vocal and I cared so much that I tried to get yous to open yous our eyes, right? So we could actually save this show. Because fans do have power. And instead of being divided and people fractured fandom, that's what we got. We got a fractured fandom, and that's what they wanted. Nobody to come together. And now we pay the ultimate price, right? But these feckers, right? These fans that supported this, these traitors, right, that kept bigging RTD up and defending everything that he did, the same with Chris Chibnall, you are also responsible for today. Not us. You can blame us all you want. You can blame Disney. You can deflect all you want, right? And not blame the person who's actually responsible, right? And that was RTD. And I'm sorry to burst his a little bubble, but it was his fault. It was his fault. Just like it was Chibs before him when he did The Timeless Child and The Fugitive Doctor. They fucking killed the show. And yous wouldn't listen. Oh no, we have to have inclusion and diversity. It doesn't matter if Doctor Who has a rich history. We want to destroy the whole lot because we want to be seen. Bunch of fucking soft idiots. Everything is me, 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 me. Well, look what me got you. It got you a cancelled fucking show with the lowest ratings ever. And that's something you are all proud of. I'm proud I was an RTD2 fan. These people, as I said, I've called them fake fans all the way through, Jody bots, whatever you call it. And I was criticised by some people on their side even for saying, well, they're not fake fans. They are fake fans. They're fake fans because they never understood Doctor Who. And apparently the fucking fella that brought it back in 2005 doesn't understand what Doctor Who is either. Right? That's why it failed. Right? It didn't fail because fans have always wanted to get behind Doctor Who. They've been crying out for something good for these last few years. And time again, even Chibnall, they gave him a chance season after season. Right? I remember after the fourth season, we all said we were out, and then we all changed their mind. And I was a prick for that. Right? But I changed my mind and I said, you know what? I'll give him a second chance. Let's see if the next season, right? Oh, we started off okay. The first episode was decent enough, right? But it fall apart in the second one. And by the third one, then you've tuned fucking out, right? But Doctor Who fans have been desperate to give something a chance. But they said no more. They said no more. I think the 60th really was the straw that broke the camel's back, to be quite honest with you, because that wasn't the 60th anniversary. That was the David Tennant Wankfest, right? Okay, and he introduced fucking Rose fucking Noble, right? That killed it. That killed any momentum that was going to happen. And I don't care if there's fans out there saying, well, these are transphobic and all. Listen, bottom line is this. People don't want trans representation in Doctor Who, right? You can call it bigoted all you fucking want, right? It shouldn't be used. Doctor Who shouldn't be used as a political platform or a social platform to push someone else's ideologies on the rest of everybody that is watching Doctor Who. That's not how it fucking works. And as I said, Netflix have tried this shit with an LGBTQ plus fucking space show. Right? And they cancelled it after fucking 6 episodes in. It didn't even get a second season. Right? So for all the people out there saying that there's a will for all of this diversity, inclusion, LGBTQ plus stuff, well, Netflix have tried it and they've cancelled every single show that they've done. So there is no will for it. There's just certain gobshites out there, along with the media and journalists, pushing this bullshit onto our pop culture. And pushing it in society, pushing it everywhere. It's getting everywhere. Let's finish the statement. I haven't begun, by the way. This might be a long stream. It might not be. It depends how this goes. But it is a sad day for me. I'm not happy about this, right? But I've been warning people for a long, long time that this was the outcome. And I've been abused, harassed, called every name under the fucking sun, and I took it all, right? But I ended up being right. We all ended up being right that called this out from the very beginning and said that if they sustained this, it was game over for Doctor Who. Well, it's game over. So congratulations to all you idiots out there that supported all of this bullshit. Anyway, let's read that other part again. After careful consideration, the BBC, RTD, and Bad Wolf have collectively decided not to go ahead with the previously announced Doctor Who Christmas special. The decision was not taken lightly, and we know it will be disappointing for fans. But in order to set up the show for future series, it was decided that rather than bridge the gap with a one-off special, we're choosing to push forward to invest in the long-term future of the show, which ensures that the TARDIS lands once more. It does so in all its glory. The previously announced new Doctor Who animated series for CBeebies is currently in production. Details of tender will be announced in due course. The BBC retains all IP in Doctor Who. BBC Studios will continue to lead the global distribution. So they're actually saying it now that they're going to be handling the global distribution. So for me, what's going to happen is if BBC go in and do another deal with someone else, they're going to make sure that they have absolute control. And they'll be, whoever they bring in will obviously be given license to show Doctor Who. I think that's the way they're going to actually go with it now. And to me, that would be listen, I don't want the big budget Doctor Who, right? BBC should just figure something out, right? And look, if it's only fucking 4 episodes of fucking season or whatever, you know what I mean, then do what you have to do, you know. But I'll read the last part. So the BBC retains all IP in Doctor Who. BBC Studios will continue to lead the global distribution of Doctor Who, as well as its licensing their consumer products, digital and immersive experiences on behalf of the BBC. So BBC are basically taking back control. They're not going to go down the same route again. They're going to do it slightly different. And that is the statement from BBC, right? And it's not a surprise that it has come, to be quite honest with you. It is sad. It is sad because we don't have guaranteed Doctor Who now. And the thing about it is now is how long is it going to stay away from our screens? Is it going to be a couple of years? Is it going to be 5 years? Is it going to be 10 years? Like, when is the show going to come back? And that's the thing, right? The future now is uncertain. So again, anybody out there that's claiming that the show is going to come back in a blaze of glory at some stage next year or the year after or whatever, they'll be all speculating. The press release there from the BBC is quite clear on the details. Okay, so they are putting it out to tender. They are basically now seeing what happens. So nobody knows out there. Nobody has any information. They'll be lying to you. Anyway, we got 31 people watching so far. We're going to get into the RTD comments on Instagram. But I can tell you now he comes across as a prick in this statement. But I'm not surprised because RTD is indeed a prick. Anybody that's walked with him will tell you he's a prick. Especially Christopher Eccleston, he's a prick. Now, listen, what I will do is this, and I just want to make it clear before I do this, right, that I'm only staying on for an hour. So we're 26 minutes in. Right, I'm going to read the RTD statement, give a brief opinion, and then I'll bring people on for the last half hour. But you will have to keep it short and sweet because we'll have to give everybody a chance on the panel to have a say quickly. We will get into this again Jordan this week. It's Tuesday. What's it? Wednesday now? Yeah, it's Wednesday. We will get back into this on Friday night. So Friday we'll have an extended chat on this with a panel. So if you're interested, I'm giving you a heads up now. If you're interested, let me know. No, if you're interested, come into the chat on Friday night. I'll put the link in the chat. Just come on. I'll be only. This is the thing as well. I want to make it clear. I'm only bringing on regulars that we normally have on at the moment. Before we start rolling out more panels as the year goes on now, because now that Doctor Who is gone for a while now, we're going to have to come up with brand new shows now to come up with brand new shows and topics to talk about. Obviously Doctor Who related, but we're gonna have to really now. You know, it used to be back in the day I could put a thinking cap on and come up with novel ideas. So I'll have to put the thinking cap on. You know, we'll have a few watch-alongs as well in between. We might watch, you know, I was thinking because of what's in it, the time that the time period that we're in, I think it would be very healthy for a lot of people, including myself, if we all maybe in a week or two watch an adventure in space and time. I think it would be fitting to do that, and maybe do William Hartnell's first story, and then do Peter Capaldi's last story, and then just kind of put a lid on it. If you think that's something that you would want me to do, and you would be interested in doing, and coming along on that little journey with me, then you're more than welcome to leave a comment and let me know what your thoughts and feelings are about this. 60 years. 60. Right. Let's get into this statement from Russell T. And so goodbye from me to Doctor Who, but hello to a big new future for the show, as the BBC announces it's putting the show out to tender. As a result, there won't be a Christmas special. We only cooked our up to guarantee a future where no one knew what would happen. So RTD is admitting that he lied when he had ideas, which means when Murray Gold went on to do his podcast and said that he had scripts, he also lied to that audience. So not only did they end the show the way they ended the show, RTD didn't have the decency to tell you the truth, and neither did actually Murray Gold, right? These people lied, right? And he uses the excuse because we didn't know what the future held for Doctor Who. Well, you put it in that position in the first place, right? So he lied. And what did I say? I said, he said he has several things wrote down. Murray Gold saying he has scripts. And I said on this channel that he just hasn't got a clue what's fucking going on, or he hasn't got a clue what's going on. Fucking idiot. This is his fault. It's not Disney's fault. Can't believe I'm saying that, but it's the truth. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. This isn't on Disney, folks. Disney gave him 100 million to give them Doctor Who. He didn't give them Doctor Who. That's why the whole thing fell apart, folks. Disney wanted Doctor Who. That's what they paid for, right? That's why they haven't shown the war between the land and the sea either. Disney have kind of wrote that off, to be quite honest with you. I'm not saying they won't show it eventually. They probably will. Obviously, they fucking paid for it. But this isn't on Disney. Like, this is on the fella that was brought in to save the fucking show. They gave him the money. They gave him a budget that all of the Doctor Who showrunners that worked on New Who would have loved. Moffat would have loved that, but could you imagine what Moffat would have done with a budget like that? Right? Moffat had some good ideas, but of course, we all know he frustrated us and he did some stupid, dumb shit. But imagine him with that 100 million budget. Right? It would have looked much better than what we fucking got. Anyway, as well. Like, it did look visually great in some places, this New Who, Disney Who. But in some places, as people pointed out, it did look a bit But it was the best it ever looked. But imagine if it had to be in Moffat with that budget. And all the big ideas he had, right? And the money, because he literally changed scripts because of budget restraints. And that's what a showrunner is supposed to do anyway, change the scripts. I mean, RTD is given budget but can't be bothered or asked about scripts. Like, so as I said, we only cooked up to guarantee a future when no one knew what would happen. But now we do know. There's no need for it. You will have to wait a bit longer than a one-off. So it's worth it. For the record, there was no script. There you go. I never wrote it, and no actor was ever approached to play the next Doctor. You may disagree, fine. Sit in a chair and wait to be proved right. You'll be waiting a long time. Now, as I'm exiting, now I'm as excited as anyone to see what comes next. Will they keep the theme tune? Will they lose the blue box? Will they bring back Drafaheen? It's all up for grabs, which is so Doctor Who, exciting and unpredictable and new. Here comes the future. Blah, blah, blah. So that's his statement, right? You could tell he doesn't give a shit, right? I told you he didn't give a shit, by the way. Lots of us told you that he didn't give a shit. He clearly doesn't give a shit, right? So if he didn't give a shit, how did anybody think he was going to write anything good if he didn't give a shit? Like, how dumb are all you stupid little maggots out there that supported RTD couldn't see this? Like, explain, because I said, this is not just on RTD, but he is the main culprit. It's on you little twats as well, right? So all you fans that are outraged that it's cancelled, right? And all you fans that are upset and want to point the finger at Disney or want to point the finger at fans like me, take a long, hard look at yourselves in the mirror, right? Because that's the face of a scumbag that facilitated in the downfall of our show. Right? That's who's responsible. Not us, not Disney, not even the BBC, right? The BBC thought they were onto something with RTD because obviously he brought back the show. So how were they to know that he was going to sabotage, in fairness, right? But in fairness, I probably wouldn't have brought RTD back if I was the BBC, because if you had to be listening to him the years previous, right, all of us were even saying, we'd be very worried if RTD came back, but people got so desperate that what Chibs did to the show, that when RTD was announced, a lot of people were initially excited. Of course, Lee again was very cautious and actually didn't believe that this was a good move, and again proved to be right. It's a sad day and a happy one as well. So it's bittersweet, you say, because on one hand, I am gutted. I'm not going to lie, right? I'm not that so gutted that I'm upset because I knew it was happening, right? I knew this was the only logical course anyway. It's been that bad for years that we could see it, right? But everybody else apparently couldn't see it. They must have been all related to Stevie fucking Wonder. Fucking hell. Well, for me, the standout episodes are still truly up there. Heaven Sent, for example. You know, I know a lot of people say Blink, and I will say the Force Weeping Angel story is very good. I just think Flesh and Start, the other one, the second Weeping Angel story, River Song, is actually slightly better. But people always go back to Blink. You had Dalek as well. You had Human Nature, Family of Blood, that brilliant two-parter. You know, you had The Impossible Planet of Satan Pit. I mean, another two classic two-parters, you know what I mean? We just had so many good ones as well, though. I think because of all of the stuff that's happened over the last few years, I think a lot of fans have actually forgotten that there was a lot more good than bad episodes, I think, personally. And I know some of the decisions that especially Moffat made and Chibnall made really did, you know, annoy fans. And as I said, the Chibs era kind of wounded the show mortally when he did Timeless Child show anyway. So it was always downhill from that. And we did all actually say at the time when we were having these discussions that it would needed a miracle to actually come back. It needed a miracle. And then when the RTD stuff came out, a lot of fans thought we got that miracle. But he turned out to be a fucking nightmare. Girl in the Fireplace is a deadly episode. Madame de Pompadour. It's one of my favourites, that is. I just love it. I do. Because that's Mickey Smith's first adventure as well. And I actually thought that was funny, you know, with him got on a spaceship for the first time, like, and he was so excited about it and stuff like that. I know we can't really talk about those episodes now because of, you know, certain individual that was in those episodes. You know, it's a bit controversy there, as you know, and there was recent controversy again, which is disappointing to see because I actually stuck my neck out for this man. But I don't jump to conclusions yet. At the end of the day, I will wait until there's something resolved with this, and then if I have to come out and say something in relation to it because I had him on my channel, I will. No better man to do it anyway. I don't hide from that. I will, in due course, if I need to, say something. But for now, I'm going to say I'm going to stay silent because it's still an ongoing investigation going on there, as far as I'm aware. So we will leave it there for now. Right, I'm going to put this link in. I'll go an hour and 15 minutes because I rambled on a little bit. About 40 minutes now, but I'm finishing when I'm finishing because I need to keep the time right, because obviously there's going to be lots of streams to be done now and lots to talk about because people have different views and different perspectives and all of that, and perspectives, I should say, and it's just going to get. So I will bring on two people. So it's basically whoever gets in the studio first. If you see two people in the studio already, then they're the two As I said, we will have a proper panel on Friday. Anybody that doesn't get to come on can come on the panel on Friday. Just give me a heads up in the chat, and as I said, we'll have a bigger panel. So just 2 people. So when I put this link in, the first 2 people, if you see 2 people in the studio, just do me a favor. Instead of me having to remove you, just leave yourself, because I'd feel bad removing people. Do you know what I mean? You know the way I am. I hate doing. I don't like doing that shit. So if you could remove you ourselves, that would be absolutely brilliant. Save me the fucking, because they'll be calling me a dictator next. Anyway, here we go. The link is about to go in. First 2 people. I'll actually let you know if 2 people come in the studio, so no more people join. I suppose that will make more sense, wouldn't it? But there's just so many good New Who episodes, though. It wasn't a total loss, but it does feel like what they've done the last few years has tainted it all. And for me, that's the sad part. That's the sad part. I can actually go and watch those episodes and not think about anything I couldn't before. I'll be honest with you. It was like, why am I watching this? Blah blah blah. Because I know what's happening, what's going to happen down the line. But I don't feel that way when I watch now. And that's great. But yeah, it doesn't look like anybody does want to come on. That's fine. As I said, we'll have a big panel on Friday. But don't be shy. If you just want to come on and just give you our opinion on what's happened today, you are more than welcome to do so. There's lots of regulars in there, so I'm actually surprised. Unless you are having an issue with actually, because the links, YouTube has done something with links now. I tried to put a link up on the community tab, and they were asking me to verify the link by me age. They wanted me to fucking confirm me age, even though I've confirmed me age on, obviously, when you set up it's weird, man. All of this new shite that they want you to do, or send us a photo of your face. Like, fuck off. I'm not getting a photo of me face. These muppets. That's the new thing now with this verification shit. They want you to they really want your photograph, right? They want to get everybody's mugshot. But look, that RTD statement, right, just shows you that man didn't give two fucks. And when he went to France and basically that journalist let the cat out of the bag and said he didn't want to discuss Doctor Who, right? It was clear, right? And here's another thing, right? Let's spare, I'm not our biggest fan lately, but let's spare a thought for Billie Piper here for a second. She was used by RTD and she allowed herself to be used. That's the part I'm angry about, is that she actually agreed to do this and she allowed herself to be used. But then we hear that she wasn't told what she was going to be doing, and it was filmed in her home, right? So it was only when she probably got there she decided, she then was probably put in a position where she couldn't back down. I've got someone in the chat I've got someone in the studio that I've never seen before. So I'm not going to bring anybody on that I haven't seen before. So if you want to verify who you are in the chat or something, please do, because I don't even see you. I don't think you're even in the chat. Let's see. No, no, not even in the chat. So sorry about that. I don't know who you are. I still can't believe that there's still people out there trying to troll me after all of this time. I think it's time to grow up a little bit. You know what I mean? It's been over 10 years now. You just need to kind of quit. You know what I mean? Actually, I know a person that uses two names like that. A certain fella from Barry Island. I wouldn't be surprised if it was him. But I'm not, as I said, I'm only bringing on regulars, so and the regulars will verify whether they've come on, whether they've sent me, they've joined the studio. So there's no point of even trying to pull that one. It's not going to work. But back to Arthur. Look, he just didn't care. But Billie Piper was used, and you know, all the questions that she was asked as well. Because remember, she's been out there doing promotion, and she's had to answer questions on Doctor Who. Like, and that's not fair, you know. So RTD clearly, as we said, you know, when RTD did the Billie Piper stunt, he was sticking two fingers up to the fans that complained about his era. Because he's a petulant child. He's a big man baby. You know, he doesn't like being criticised on any level whatsoever. He thinks he's far superior than everybody else as well. And he basically confirmed that when he made those ridiculous comments about saying he was they were the gay people or something with a master race or whatever the fucking stupid comment he came out with. Like, this is the type of stuff you have to deal with this man since he came back to Doctor Who. I just it was, as I said, you could always see where this was heading. But I'll maintain and I'll say again, it never needed to go this far. It never needed to be at this situation right now. All BBC had to do after Chibs, right? Okay, yeah, he still had an uphill battle to win people over. But he had it done right by the show. I'm pretty sure we'd be sitting here celebrating maybe the third or fourth season of a highly successful Doctor Who relaunch. But no, why not? It's canned. In the bin. There's no more to say except, obviously, you know, if I've seen some little weirdos out there, adult weirdos, saying they're going to watch the CBB show. I mean, it's for kids. And you know, if it's only aimed at kids, I think it'd be weird that adults are watching it. Obviously, if it's more aimed at a family, if it's a family animation, but I think this is just for children. So I don't know, man. I think it'd be a bit weird to watch Toddler Who. But Toddler Who is happening. But you've all seen the requirements for that when they put it out there, right? They want to have the diversity and strategy and that. So, like, I mean, that's going to fail. Well, kids are different, but I'm pretty sure that it's not going to do well. Right? It'll be another disaster. But they won't, you know. This is the lesson that needs to be learned now. And if they don't learn any lessons from this, right, as Lee put it when we read Lee's comments at the very start of the stream, if they don't learn lessons from this, right, then the situation or the show is never going to come back to any former glory. It's done now. I mean, He lied. He lied to everybody. He got Murray Gold to lie for him, to say that he had scripts written. Right? He lied when he said that he had ideas floating about in his head. He's come out and said he made all of that up because he didn't know what the future of the show was, so he wanted to make it out that there was some sort of future for the show. So the BBC lied as well when they announced the Christmas special. They knew that this was going to go nowhere. So they kept us all waiting since last year, and they dragged it all the way to June this year to finally come out and admit what we all knew from the very beginning. Like, I mean, how will anybody trust them again? Lying to the fact. I'm glad. Look, the one thing, Bad Wolf and the BBC are done, right? And that's a good thing, right? That means all of RTD's Bad Wolf employees, including all the people that work for him, are gone away from Doctor Who now, right? That's what we wanted, right? So that's at least something. Now, they better actually take their time and make the right decisions moving forward. Now, whether the show was cancelled for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, even 10 years, well, I don't care. When it comes back, it has to go back to basics, go back to what Doctor Who was all about. If it does that, tell some good stories, develop the characters the way they should be developed, and give us the fucking science fiction back, because they dumbed down the show all the years. I want me science fiction. Right, that's what it is. It's a science fiction show. It's about a man who travels through time and space. Right, saves planets, saves people, gets himself into all sorts of situations, figures out mysteries and all of that. That's what I want. I want the mystery back in Doctor Who. I want the clever written scripts. Right? If you have to dumb down a product for an audience that you're chasing, well then it should tell you that you're actually chasing the wrong audience. You should cater to the audience that you already have, that are highly intelligent, to treat them like young kids. Right? And even kids today are far more intelligent than you actually realise. Right? You make these kids and make us out to be stupid, when in reality we like the complex nature of Doctor Who. We like all that science fiction stuff. We like all those mysteries and going on a journey together to try figure it out as fans. And that's why all these fans forums got all set up, and all people putting their own theories of what they think is happening and all of that. And it's a beautiful fucking thing when it's done right. But all these last two eras have done is divide and fracture the fandom. That the fandom is a shadow of its former self. It is probably the most toxic fandom out there, right? And that's saying a lot, because you have the Star Wars fandom, right? But this is the most toxic fandom in fandom. And as I said, the other side will be finger pointing. It'll be our fault. It'll be Disney's fault. It'll be blah, blah, blah's fault. It won't be their fault. It won't be RT's fault. You know, it won't be BBC's fault. It'll be everybody else's fault. But they were right all along, right? The show was successful according to them, right? And remember that whopper we kept getting off them when we discussed the ratings. They kept saying, no, it's successful. No, the ratings don't mean nothing. This, that, and the other. Like, excuse after excuse after excuse. Ratings have always mattered, right? And this whole thing, TV habits have changed, blah, blah, blah. I never bought it from day one, and I still don't buy it. You write a good enough show, you get millions of viewers watching. They proved it with Peaky Blinders. They proved it with many other shows. The Traitors, that cop show that Daniel used to watch. What was it? Line of Duty. Right? They've proved it. Right? That SAS Special Forces fucking show. All of those shows. They've all been successful for the BBC and have got millions of viewers tuning in each week. And why? Because they were done properly. They were exciting. Good stories. Good character development. And people just wanted more. And they could do that with Doctor Who. As I've said with BBC, it's like as if they don't know what to do with Doctor Who because it's a science fiction show. Right? It's one, this is what I mean. The Doctor Who is one of the most, or was anyway, up until the 2 previous eras, was one of the most highly valuable assets. Put the right people in place, put people in there that care about science fiction first of all. Don't even have to care about Doctor, but just the pure art of science fiction. Get people around those people that know a little bit about Doctor Who to help these people. But we need fresh blood. It needs an overhaul. Anybody that's, as I said, anybody that's worked on the show from 2005 up until now should never work on Doctor Who ever again. And now we know at least that Bad Wolf is out, which means Bad Wolf employees will be out as well. Right? So I don't know if Pete McTeague is actually a Bad Wolf employee. Let's fucking hope he is, because, you know, he'd be the guy that I'm worried about that BBC would probably try turn to. And he's the wrong man for the job. Right? So I want to throw that out there straight away. He's the wrong man for the job. As I said, anybody that's worked on the show in any capacity since 2005 up until now, nowhere near the show. New blood. Start from scratch if you have to. I don't give a shit. Fans can argue about reboot, not reboot, fix this, fix that. Right? At the end of the day, it's gone past all of that. Right? They just have to start from scratch, go back to basics, and just go with it and see where it goes from there. Right? Don't explain nothing. Right? But this is the problem now. The timeline. When is Doctor Who gonna come back? Will it ever come back? They're the questions now that are going to be asked. Right? And right now, the answer is simple. We don't know. Right? BBC are saying they've put it out to tender, but at the end of the day, as Lee has rightly pointed out, that's usually a code word for cancelled. They just don't want to use the word cancelled. But you never know. That's the thing about the beauty about the television industry, is you never know. Right? There are shows that have, look at Doctor Who was dead and buried for a lot of years. Nobody thought it'd ever come back in any capacity. It did. Right? And whether people agree or not about the new Who era, it was successful up to a point, right? The 50th anniversary year, especially, it was probably the most powerful that Doctor Who IP was, and at its most popular, right? So the BBC have been shown that there's an appetite there when it's done right. So it's up to them now to make the right decisions. But I got to be honest with you, and I don't kind of want to be doom and gloom, because it is all doom and gloom today if you're a Doctor Who fan. I know some of you will be happy, and I get it. You know, I'm happy that it's not going to be ruined anymore. But I'm sad because it is gone. You know, it's a show, the new Who version, it is a show that brought us all joy. Right? Those moments, and they can't take that away. You know, when you've grown up with a show like I have, you know, since I'm a kid, I'm watching this show, right? I'm in my 40s now, right? I've watched this show for a long time, right? It was the science fiction show that as I said, it's the one that and Star Trek, you know what I mean, are the two go-to shows. But Doctor Who was always the first love, man. I loved it. It was unique. It was unique. Um, to see someone go into a telephone box, right, and to see that it was bigger on the inside, like that blew me away. Like, and then to find out it could travel in time and space, that was, you know what I mean. As a kid, those things inspire you. I wanted to be an astronaut for a long, long fucking time. Obviously, now when I think back, you know, kids can be rather stupid with their dreams. Me being an astronaut and I have a fear of heights, being a fucking laugh, alright. Force Irishman into space is afraid of heights. Imagine. But that's what I mean. We all had little little pipe dreams after watching shows like that. That's what it is, man. The same when you watch the Rocky movies, you know. You know, when you were a kid, you watched the Rocky movies, you felt like you could take on the whole world, like. It's, yeah, but that's the thing, man. Seriously, man, especially for me, Rocky 3, that was just, I love that. And of course, I did like what was it, Rocky 4, that's the Russian one. I did like that one, but you know, when people say movies weren't preaching back in the day, obviously they were, but they did it the right way, you know. Now it's just, yeah, it's completely fucking flipped. It has. New Who is bookended. It started and ended with Billie. Yeah, makes sense now. The whole Billie Piper thing. That's exactly what he was doing. You know what I mean? Maybe in 5 years, Woke might have fallen back to sleep by then. Well, I've got to say I don't necessarily agree, and I'll tell you why. I'll just explain it, Leland. You know, last year, if you remember, as you all know, June is Pride Month. Now, last year there seemed to be a bit of a pushback on it, and a lot of companies weren't putting up their Pride logos and all of this. Well, it's come back with a vengeance this year. It's come back with a vengeance this year. So I got to be honest with you. The left are especially the radical left. They're very hard to get rid of. You know, they're not going to go away. So this is going to drag on. Unfortunately, I think this is going to drag on a few more years. I don't see this coming to a end. Like, you're getting movie studios that are obviously copping on that woke isn't working, and you'll get your odd film here and there. But on the whole, they're still making pretty average movies, or they're still making woke movies. They're just not as woke as they used to be. But you're still going to get it. You're still going to get it. It's... As I said, you'll get one or two, like Tom Cruise. Like, you know, when you watch a Tom Cruise movie, he's going to give you the cinematic experience, right? So you hope he makes a few more movies over the years now that he's finished with apparently Mission Impossible. So there's, I think, another Top Gun has been announced anyway, right? So you hope he makes more movies, right? There's a lot of fans that like the Jason Statham movies, right? They're brainless, mindless fun, right? They're not complicated. You don't have to be a fucking genius to watch his movies, but if you watch his movies, you're going to be entertained, right? So I think you're going to get more of that kind of sort of movie. Even Christopher Nolan with the Odyssey has decided that he's going to wokeify it, right? Christopher Nolan of all people. So it's not going. I'm sorry, I don't think it's going away within 5 years. I still think I still think this is going to drag on for at least another decade. It's just it's gone on for far too long. And the thing about it is, it's yes, it's slowing down, but as I said, slowing down last year. Everybody thought we were turning the corner, and then it's all come back with a vengeance this year. So I don't think it's going to die away in the next 5 years. We're looking at least for me another decade of this bullshit. To be quite honest with you, as I said, some studios are adapting and are making movies. They'll make movies that'll keep them ticking along. They'll make a profit the odd time. But on the whole, most of the movies that they make, especially if they're woke and diversity inclusion shy, they're going to lose money, as we've seen. So there you go. People are liking He-Man. I know Tom Connors doesn't like He-Man. I saw his rant about it. He's obviously a He-Man fan, a proper He-Man fan, so he knows more than I do. But he has his issues with He-Man. But on the whole, I've seen a lot of people are entertained by He-Man. You also have Mortal Kombat 2, which to me looks a bit not daft. But again, maybe that will actually do well. It's the same with Street Fighter. That looks absolutely fucking ridiculous. To actually see the haircuts and all like the get, it is a bit ridiculous. But again, that movie could end up being a lot of fun and mindless entertainment that will entertain you. Do you know what I mean? That's the thing. So you're not going to get these highly intelligent movies like. You will get some movies that will entertain you, but on the whole, you'll still get your crap that they're putting out. Like that's why I don't think this is slowing down anytime soon. Jack is going to see He-Man tomorrow, so maybe after Jack watches He-Man, we can get Jack on to do a kind of a report on how good, bad, or average the movie was, and give his opinions on it. If he would, I don't know if that'd be something that Jack would be interested in doing. You can let me know. No pressure, of course. You don't have to. I'm just saying because you're going to see the movie. I did actually watch Michael, the biopic, and I never had so much fun watching a movie, to be quite honest with you, in years. It was spectacular, man. I could see why it's made all the money that it's made. And I love the fact that Netflix tried to put out, well, they did put out a documentary to try and slander the man, and people are cancelling their Netflix subscription, and it's become one of the low-rated documentaries they've done on Netflix because he came after the King of Pop, even though he was cleared. Like, so, well deserved for Netflix. They deserve that, the little rat bags. And all the journalists that are still trying to take his name, you aren't going to stop this movie. Well, it is the biggest biopic of all time, but you ain't stopping this. He's the King of Pop for a reason. The man might be dead, but he still has the power and the gravitas, right? That his biopic is the biggest biopic of all time, right? And you know what, kids today, I was looking at the comments, Michael Jackson wasn't as big as Beyonce, he's not as big as Taylor Swift. You ain't got a clue. You could go put Beyonce and Taylor Swift together along with every other modern fucking singer out there, and Michael Jackson would still stand above them in the terms of fame, fortune, and just sheer fucking magnetism, right, with his fans, right? You could go to Timbuktu, right? Go to Timbuktu, you could go to the arsehole of nowhere and mention Michael Jackson's name and someone would know him. Someone would know him. Mention the rest of them, they wouldn't have a fucking clue, right? He was the biggest. These kids don't even realize he was. You don't know what fame and fortune is. You don't know what fame is, right? We grew up in an era watching this man and watching literally streets and countries come to a standstill when the man entered the country, right? The man went to Brazil to do They Don't Care About Us in the villas, right? With fucking the gangsters there. By the way, the gangsters all feature in the fucking video. That's something I never fucking knew. They all feature in the fucking video. He had that power that he brought rival groups together, right? For Billie, right? This man's fucking status is unmatched, and anybody that says that these modern artists or any other fucking artist is bigger than him, he just haven't got a clue. You haven't got a clue. The man is far. He's above them all, right? You know who's up there with him, right? For me personally, if I was to put someone up there with Michael Jackson, there'd be two other people, right? There'd be Freddie Mercury and George Michael, right? Okay, those three, right? Unmatched. Michael Jackson obviously had the fame and had, I mean, there was hysteria around him. I mean, the others did too, but not on his level. But I'd put them up there in terms of talent, right? Up there with Mercury. There's no panel coming on. Nobody came on, so I'm going to finish up now. We will have a panel on Friday. Nobody wanted to come on, Phil, so that's why I kept talking. But we will do a panel on Friday. So if people want to come on Friday, they're more than welcome to come on. But I'm going to be ending the stream shortly now. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about that. Elvis, I don't rate Elvis anyway. I thought Elvis was highly overrated. He's got good music, I'm not going to lie. But no, I don't think Elvis or the Beatles as well. Beatles were overrated in my opinion. I don't get the hype around the Beatles. I mean, they had some good hits, but most of their songs were bored and tripe in my opinion. That's just me. I was never a fan of the Beatles anyway, you know. I fucking hate Hey Jude. Hate it. Anytime, you know, over here in Ireland, the Beatles are obviously popular. And I go to the pub Sunday afternoon, you know, and the jukebox would be on. And some fucking gobshite in the pub would always be playing Beatles songs and Hey Jude, Hey Jude, Hey Jude. And I just got sick and tired. Seriously, that song just pisses me off, man. I don't get it. I preferred them on their own. I preferred them when they went solo. I will listen to Paul McCartney's music. I listen to John Lennon's music. Right? I've listened to George Harrison's music. Right? I've listened to their music separately and I've enjoyed their music separately. But together as the Beatles, I just don't get it. I never have got the hype around them. Right? I mean, maybe because they were young lads in Liverpool and stuff like that. Maybe that's, I don't know, but I just don't get it. I just don't get the hype around them. You know, as I said, they had one or two songs that I actually like, but I don't get why they're highly thought of. You know, same with Elvis. He had some good songs, but again, I don't know why he's considered the king of rock and roll when, to me, he only had a few songs that were decent. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, Ticket to Ride is a deadly song, and She Loves You is a deadly song. Yeah, they're good songs, but I still don't get the hype around them. All right, I really don't. But back to the Michael Jackson biopic just for a minute. Um, if I was to rate it out of 10, it's getting a solid 10. Now, there has been a complaint out there from the journalists and some idiots out there that just want to blacken Michael Jackson's name. Well, they didn't address uh, the allegations. Now, if you watch the movie, you morons, you would have seen that it actually ends at the time where he's doing bad. Okay, so there's supposed to be a sequel. Now, whether the sequel will or not deal with the allegations, for me, you know, he was found innocent. The biggest mistake, as I've always said, was that he paid off the first child that made the allegation. The record company advised him to do that. I thought it was bad advice. He should have fought it from day one. But if this movie does do it properly, well then, when the allegations come out, it's very interesting that when the allegation first comes out, Michael Jackson's speaking up about the music industry, and he's speaking up about how people are screwing him over, and then all of a sudden, then these allegations just pop out of nowhere. And it happened again where he actually went to court. He was speaking out about Sony exploiting him and ruining his album. And then, of course, those allegations came out. Look, the bottom line is this. I'm not saying that he wasn't a weirdo. Nobody will ever deny that. But to understand him, right, if you understand him, then you know for a fact that everything that's been said about him and written about him since he's died, you know, is complete bullshit. Even that Finding Neverland hit piece that they done, right? After that all broke, right? People were coming out and people decided to speak up, and it turned out that these people were lying and making shit up. Like, you can't... Look, all I'll say is this, right? MJ was accused of all of that, right? When Jimmy Savile died, right, thousands of people came forward. When Michael Jackson died, the thousands of people come forward. If he's guilty of what they say he was, right, I can tell you now that people like that don't... They move from victim to victim to victim like Jimmy Savile did, right? It's absolutely ridiculous when you think about it, right? And with all this Epstein nonsense, yeah, did his name appear? Just something for you all to think about, really, to be quite honest with you. But anyway, I thought the movie was fantastic. I can't wait to see if they actually do the sequel. I saw it being announced. Whether it'll go ahead or not, I don't know. It should, in my opinion. But the way they did the movie, some of the sequences in it, the dance sequences, the guy playing, it's Michael Jackson's nephew, is a nephew or cousin playing Michael Jackson. He was brilliant in the role. I cannot say anything bad about it. Actually, I have to say all of the cast were brilliant. There wasn't one that was bad. They were all standout performances, but I have seen a lot of biographies. Walk the Line is another favorite of mine, even though I know the majority of it is kind of bullshit, or they've changed facts and they haven't told the real story. They've given a kind of a, yeah, you do see the bad parts of Johnny Cash, but yeah, they kind of gloss over it with all the good that he kind of did and all of that. And his missus, his original wife, his first wife, actually wrote a biography, and you know that's apparently the real Johnny Cash story, not the Walk the Line movie version that they gave you. But I still do like it. Ray was another one that I liked, but I have to be honest. I've watched a lot of biography movies over the years, and the only other biography that I really enjoyed and I thought was absolutely fantastic for the time was Tina. What's Love Got to Do with It? The Tina Turner story. That was horrific. I mean, what she went through was absolutely. And if you haven't seen that movie, man, go and watch it. But I will say, just be cautious because there's a lot of violence in the movie. You be kind of thinking, well, how's there violence in a Tina Turner movie? Well, go and watch it and you'll see. But go and watch Tina. What's Love Got to Do with It? Right, the Angela Bassett movie. She is brilliant. I'm telling you, man, she is actually brilliant in the role. She brings Tina Turner to life. But that one really shocked. But it's brilliant. It's brilliant because Tina Turner was just such a strong woman and a legend. And I'm telling you, it's women like her that empower women. She was extraordinary, man, what she had to put up with and what she went through and what her life ended up becoming. It's mad, right? But that one and Michael, but Michael, I have to say, I've never enjoyed a movie so much. From start to finish, man, it was just brilliant. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't go in with high expectations. But for me, the most important part was the kind of highlights, you know, the kind of childhood that Michael had. And yes, they gloss over a lot of things and they ignore a lot of things. But there is a particular scene in it where Joe grabs Michael and he lashes him across the back with his leather belt, and it's absolutely horrific. Like, it's horrific, right? It's absolutely disgusting. There was actually kids in the cinema watching this, and it happens early on in the movie, and I was like, should these kids be in here watching this movie? Because it was just like, but then after that, then there was the comment about his nose, and then there was the Pepsi ad disaster. And again, that was Joe's fault because he forced Michael into doing it. You know, so, but it does show how horrible Joe Jackson was. And he was a nasty piece of work. Right? So, yeah, 10 out of 10. Right, back to Doctor Who, because I see some people are still talking Doctor Who. We'll finish up on this. So just seeing Charlotte is in the chat there. So let's have a look at some of the comments there. But as I said, we'll have a panel on Friday. If people are available on Friday, the usual suspects, if you just want to come on, you're more than welcome to come on. The worst thing about MJ was his ego, the self-proclaimed king of pop. Well, I see him as the king of pop. I don't think he proclaimed himself the king of pop, to be fair. I think it was the fans that proclaimed him the king of pop, and he rolled with it. Of course you're going to roll with it. Like, you know, Elvis was proclaimed the king of rock and roll, and that was probably by fans as well, and he rolled with it. Um, Badger says, though, in relation to, I think, Doctor Who here. Hold on. So, hi, no, not spoken before, but watched you a lot. In the end, euthanasia was the kindest thing. You know, yeah, you're right. I mean, it couldn't go on. It couldn't go on the way it has. The damage has been a lot, and it's going to take a lot of repair and a lot of time, maybe. Did they already make the Michael Jackson bio miniseries? I didn't know that they were actually making a miniseries, but the bio I saw was a movie, Mark. So I don't know. I did, if I remember correctly, I thought that was the original plan, was to do a series. But I don't know if the Jackson estate gave, because remember, Paris and Janet Jackson did not feature in the biopic. The other sister did, Latoya, because Janet Jackson and Paris Jackson actually have an issue with the movie. They told fans actually not to go and watch it, but of course fans didn't listen. It became the biggest biopic of all time. So I don't know what's going on there. Right, let's see, because as I said, Queen Charlotte just wrote a comment there. Just wanted to read a couple of comments there that I missed. And nice to have you in the chat there, Badger. It's nice to see new people. Well, the main thing now is it's official now, says Charlotte. The silence was actively hurting the show. I agree with you there. And then Badger followed it up with this comment, said the destruction was so deliberate, RTD must be walking away now saying mission accomplished. Yes, I agree with you, because his statement clearly shows, Badger, that he gave zero effects about the show. For him, it became a tool to push his own ideology, his own agenda on the fandom and on the general public. And they said, absolutely not. We're not having that. See you later. And this is the result. And here's another interesting one. And I do agree. That's what I said. You know, it's all well and good. They said, but we don't know now how long it's going to wait. This is the mystery now. Right? They put out a statement. We know no Christmas special. Right? They said that they want to secure the future Doctor Who for future generations. That's all well and good, but there's no timeline. And that's what Charlotte has said there. What's interesting is that we haven't been told the new showrunner or when we will see who next on screen. So there is no timeline. They have given no details. And then Charlotte follows it up with, this feels we are probably in a pause hiatus for the first time in modern run, even when it would have been the best to stop before they forced ahead. Not now. I look, if I was to give a timeline, if knowing the BBC, what we're in 2026, right? We've already been on break for how long now? Right, say maybe, and this is just me speculating. I'm not saying it's fact. I'm not saying I've been given information or anything like that happened. But if I was speculating myself, I'd say a realistic date for the BBC in their minds would be 2028. Now, people can agree or disagree with me. Some people will think probably need more time. Some fans out there probably think it doesn't need a break at all and should move forward with ASAP in 2027. If you have talent, ego to a certain extent goes hand in hand. Yeah, well, most of the biggest artists of all time had egos, and they were absolute assholes. That's what made them the superstars that they were. You know, it's kind of tolerated in society. You can be a bit of an asshole once you have the talent. Do you know what I mean? Like RTD, he had talent and he thought he could be an asshole, but then when the talent started to wane, he continued to be an asshole. And then people saw the asshole. That wouldn't be a bad show either. I feel like it could be 2030s when we get the show back. That wouldn't be a bad show. It wouldn't be a bad show. It's called the Jacksons from 1992. Is that the, just so I got this right, because I saw something years ago, right, and I thought it was a movie. So tell me if it's the right one, right? So I saw this particular scene in it where Michael is sitting at the dinner table with Joe, I think, and he gets him to take off his shoe and his sock, and he proceeds to stick matches in between his toes and light them, and basically essentially burn his feet because he didn't get his dance moves right. Because if it's that, I've seen it. I think I saw it on Hallmark channel. I think they showed it, and that's why I thought it was a movie. And that was years ago. Now, we're going back a couple of decades now. Because if it's that, then I've seen it, and that's absolutely disgusting, man. It's sick. That's what I said. Joe Jackson is the epitome of evil. People don't actually realize how evil that man actually was. I will avoid watching anything that RTD makes. Avoiding Tiptoe completely. Well, it's more agenda-driven nonsense from him. They did say earlier in the year that no decisions will be made till next year. Whether that's up in the air now, who knows? Well, I think that statement is pretty clear on that far side. I don't think they can be any clearer that they won't be making any decisions anytime soon. As we said, it feels as Rifts in Time says, I feel like it could be time. I think that's a good show as well. Charlotte thinks it could be 2029. Look, I say we're all pretty close on the baseline of where they might start, right? We're all a year out maybe, but I say we're pretty much, because we've done this a long time, we kind of know how it works. We're pretty much probably, you know, with the educated guess, we're probably not too far off of what could happen. They could have announced Pete, but they haven't. He appeared to me at the showrunner in waiting almost. The best thing for the show is to look outside the norms. Well, that's what I said. I hope Pete Matig is actually a Bad Wolf employee now, because it means he's out the door with Bad Wolf. I don't want him because, as I said, anybody that's worked on this show from 2005 all the way up till now can never work on Doctor Who ever again, as far as I'm concerned. Fresh blood is what's needed. You'll probably see Bond 27 before any new season of Doctor Who. Well, if I'm hearing the things that's coming out of Amazon in relation to the Bond 27, I don't think Bond will last very, very long under Amazon. And I think it was an absolutely stupid deal done by the people involved, handing it over to Amazon Prime. Yeah, I wouldn't be holding my breath out for James Bond to be anywhere decent to be quite honest with you. I'm hearing some horror stories in relation to it. Again, look, I always say Daniel Craig started off deadly with Casino Royale. Quantum of Solace was absolutely shit. It had some moments in it. The car chase is absolutely brilliant, and actually at the start of the movie, but it goes downhill pretty quickly after that. But I loved Skyfall. That was absolutely brilliant. That is up there as one of the best Bond movies, in my opinion, that's ever been made. After that, then it went completely downhill. With the woke politics that they started. Daniel Craig is a big supporter of it, so he had no problem of kind of changing the character of James Bond and evolve the character to the point that we didn't know what the character looked like anymore. So he had 2 good movies and the rest were shit, in my opinion. Now, people will argue with me on Casino Royale and Skyfall, but for me, they were his 2 best movies. I thought the rest were shy. So I don't think McTeague will get it. He's tainted by association. I wouldn't know. I've never watched it fully. Just caught a few minutes of it on TV. I think it might be the same thing. I'm going to have to go back and look at that. Heat is just crap, says Daniel. We've got David Harding in the chat. Nice to see it and welcome. I'm not surprised or disappointed by this announcement. I feels like it's been a long time coming, to be honest. It is. Look, lots of us seen it before this day arrived. We knew this day was going to arrive. It was just a matter of when, right? And that's the sad thing about it, as I keep saying. It was preventable. If the people in charge had to listen to the actual fans and not listen to the people that were driving the show, who didn't actually care about the IP, they only cared about the politics it was pushing and the ideology that it was pushing, right? And they made sure that showrunners were brought in to cater to them, rather than actually bringing someone that would cater to the general audience plus Doctor Who fans, right? I'm not saying that they should listen to fans on everything, right? Because fans don't always know what's best. But at the end of the day, you didn't have to be Sherlock Holmes, right, to see this coming, okay? It was easy to figure out that this was where we were heading, right? Even Stevie Wonder, he's blind. He would have seen this coming, right? That's how obvious this was. Jack O'Connell should be the next James Bond. I wouldn't mind him being a doctor, but wait a few more years. But I think in the future he could play the Doctor. But I don't know if I see him as James Bond. I don't know. But look, he's brilliant in that, and he's in. He is an actor that you can be proud of. He just lays on performance after performance. He should be bigger than what he is, in my opinion. I know that might sound like a bit of an insult, but I'm not. It's actually he should be bigger. He's got the talent. He could do acting. Maybe he could pull off James Bond, but I'd probably like to see him do the Doctor. I was totally blown away with Tina Turner's 50th anniversary live tour, walking a 40-foot high gantry in high heels, no harness, amazing stage dance performances involving Bond and Mad Max. Yeah, I mean, look, GoldenEye is a fucking brilliant song. It was I mean, it is. She's just, it's just brilliant, man. Doom, 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 doom. That intro is just fucking classic. But Beyond Thunderdome, oh man, that's one of our greatest songs ever. We don't need another hero. Seriously, man. Go and listen to a bit of Tina Turner, man. She's brilliant. Spectre was hideous. Yeah, it was absolutely dog shit, lad. It was dog shit. I lost all interest. I watched a few minutes. I saw where this was going, and I said, no, thank you. Spoiler, the ending of Craig's Bond was symbolic because they knew it was being sold to Amazon. Yeah, I haven't watched the movie, but I did go and watch the controversial scene, and I watched it, and he's basically crying like a baby because he got a chick pregnant and they have a kid now and blah, blah, blah. And he's about to die because he has this virus, I'm assuming, in his body or something. And if he goes off the island, he kills billions of people or something. So they blow him up, right? I will say it is an emotional scene, but I don't want to be seeing James Bond crying like a sniveling little bitch. Do you know what I mean? He's a womanizer, he's an alcoholic, and he's a killer. Okay? If you can't do that, then fucking screw it. Do you know what I mean? He had one woman, she's gone, okay? And every woman that he has shagged after that, right? And the reason why he leaves them is because he doesn't want to get connected with a woman. As soon as you connect Bond with a woman, right, that's it, it's over. Right, he becomes vulnerable and weak. He's an assassin, right? Seriously, that movie is just brilliant. The opening scene to that movie on the train and all, it's brilliant movie. I love it. I love the song as well. I'm not even a fan of it, Adele. You know, she writes her own music and she's a great singer. She's just not my jam, right? But that song that she sang was fucking, I'm sorry, but no wonder she won awards for it. It was fucking, it reminded me of the old classic Bond song, theme tunes, songs, I should say. And that's, that's why it did so well. But I love that movie. I love Casino Royale as well. I just love how they did it, the black and white at the start. You know, he gets his confirmed kills and then it's off you go. It was actually a nice way to do it, kind of reboot the franchise as such. Little did we know that it was going to skew into whatever the hell it became. At least RTD has burned his bridges and will never write for who again. But at what price we fans have had to pay? That's a fair point, Lee. But he never cared about us, so look, we hope that they could fix this and rectify it. But if we're all really being honest with ourselves, it's going to take years to repair this damage. I don't think his future shows will do well because of what he did to Doctor Who. He does have his own audience and his own fandom. So if he keeps writing LGBTQ plus shows, they will get behind him. And some people out there, unfortunately, in society see him as a bit of a rebel. So he does kind of get, look, his shows do, look, Doctor Who didn't do well, but his other shows do well, and we can't hide from that fact. He obviously appeals to some people out there. I would say they're mentally ill, but some people say that I'm going too far. But I mean, to watch his stuff, you have to be mentally ill. I saw Spectre as well. Didn't like it as much as Skyfall and Casino Royale. Now, Spectre was shite, lad. But you are right about Skyfall and Casino Royale. They were highly enjoyable movies. I mean, the end of Skyfall is bleeding brilliant. And I'm not going to lie, when Judi Dench's died in his arms, man, because Look, I remember the controversy when she was actually, cast, and within the first movie, she proved that a woman could be M. And it was Judi Dench, for God's sake, but she still drew criticism. But after the first movie, Golden Eye, she had cemented her stamp on it, her style on it, and people really loved it. So when by the time we got to that scene where she died, I was actually gutted. I'm not gonna lie. I because it all happened so fast with the shootout, and then when she actually winced in pain, and he checks and she sees that she's bleeding, I was like, oh no, they're gonna kill her off, hadn't they? Because I didn't expect it. Because I don't think I looked at any leaks or anything in relation to it. I went in blind, and when she died, man, I was, yeah, man. But that was Daniel Craig. Apparently, he wanted her out, so he got what he wanted. They will totally wrap up the Billie Piper operation at Big Finish, won't they? And then when the show comes back, a clean slate. Well, I don't listen to Big Finish. If they want to do it on Big Finish, and Big Finish want to try and explain this shit show, then good on them. Good on them. But the only people that will listen to that is the mentally ill RTD fans that back them. So it's not going to. Nobody will give a damn what they did on Big Finish in relation to this if they do. It's not surprising, but it's disrespectful. It's disrespectful to the show, to the fans, and to Carol Ann Ford. They should have just faded to black and leave it open. Why bring Piper into this? Says Dom. Dummy Hawk. Is that how you say that? Hawk. Dummy Hawk. You're absolutely right. The disrespect to Carol Ann Ford, let's be honest here. I said it at the time. You bring her back. You have a lot more scenes planned with her. You do them, but then you just put in what you put in. Why bring her back in the first place? And that was the listen. I knew what he was doing with that. It was just clickbait and member berries. But I will say that the bits that we did get with Carol Ann Ford, I did like, because I've wanted to see her back in Doctor Who proper for a long time. It's just a pity that he hadn't got the respect for the woman to give her her due reward, because she's been loyal to this show ever since she's left it. She's always talked positively about the show, right? She is one companion that could have bridged the gap, right? Could have went some way of healing the fandom, and he just didn't give a shit, man. The woman is just a legend, and you don't treat your legends like that. And that's what I mean. He had no respect for anybody, right? He only cares about himself. Dave says, RTD, the man who brought Doctor Who back to a global phenomenon, only later to come back to put the final nail in Doctor Who's coffin. Maybe that was his plan all along. Maybe he didn't want anybody else to take over, and he wanted his legacy to be secured, that he was willing to destroy everybody else's legacy. But all he's done is destroyed his own, so it's backfired. So well done. Well done. It really is an unfortunate streak. First, they cancelled Stargate. Yeah, I saw that. That's crazy. Stargate is actually another one of the shows that I used to watch. Now, I got into Stargate a little bit later. I will be honest about that. It was my little brother that used to watch Stargate a lot. And I remember coming home one day and he was watching it. And I sat down and I watched an episode. And I thought, yeah, this is something I could get into. So Sky One, as you know, used to repeat it after repeat, after repeat, after repeat, man. So I got to eventually watch it. And it was Stargate SG-1 was a great show. Farsight says, I prefer Connor Swindles as the Doctor. We need that Shane as Doctor Who. Unfortunately, Mr. Shane is just as bad as fucking David Tennant with his politics. And I'd like an actor for once that doesn't come in with personal agenda. Correction, he had 2 women. They both died horrible deaths. He's too old now, but Michael Fassbender should be given a go as Bond. A lot of people have mentioned him. Maybe a couple of years ago, you're right. I don't know. I kind of agree with you now. James Bond is a Jack the Lad, and that's why we love Bond. I'm sorry, but we need more characters like that. We need to get back to that, says Daniel. I agree with you. Lindsay says she doesn't like Adele. Matthew Pounder is singing Ding Dong, the witch is dead, the wicked old witch, the wicked old witch. Ding Dong, the wicked witch is dead. Yeah, it is still a bit sad though, but it was going to happen. It's too bad with regards to Carol Ann Ford returning as Susan, but it doesn't have to be the end of that character, I suppose. No, she could always come back. That's the beauty about this show. But here's the thing. I would err a word of caution to the BBC. You know, if that's an idea that you are kind of thinking, bringing back some old companions or old characters that appeared in the show previous, and you think that might be a way of winning fans back. Unless you're going to do it with the grace and respect that it deserves, I suggest you don't go down that route. Fans are not going to tolerate any more disrespect now. The line has been drawn. It's over. So bring it back when he's ready. I don't know what the time frame is, but whenever you bring it back, make sure that you make all the right decisions. If not, I'm just going to tell you now, you're wasting your time. You're wasting more money. Don't bother bringing it back. Keep it on hiatus. You only bring it back because you believe in it and because you've got the right people in place and you believe you can take this to the next step, right? We have to build up steps again. So start climbing that ladder again. Until then, don't even bother. Because if you bring it back and half-ass it like you've done already, then it's over, right? It's over. Those ratings will go even lower. And you don't want that, right? It's already in the bin. It's already embarrassing if you're a Doctor Who fan, right? And it is embarrassing, right? As a Doctor Who fan, to see the state that it's in. So it's time to make the right decisions, right? Don't make them, forget about it. Don't waste their time, right? Don't waste their time, right? We're done. We're done with our time being wasted, right? I'm not saying you should listen to us on everything that we say, but we've told you over the years now, everybody has in this fandom that has called this disaster out, have told you where you have gone wrong over the years. If you do not take any of that criticism on board and continue to do business as usual, then forget about it. Just please forget about it and leave the show on hiatus until one of you have the fucking cop on to realise that you're on a gold mine, and if you use it properly, you will make a shit ton of fucking money. Anyway, I'm going to read these last few comments and then we're heading off. So Russell has hardly any respect for classic companions. You do a time maker story and not bring back Peter Purvis. Exactly. Exactly. Do you think if we had the original version with the party with Carol Ann Ford and not Billie, the show wouldn't be axed? Do you think we'd be in the same position. Now, I honestly believe before we got to the regeneration scene anyway, that the show was already dead in the water, if I'm honest, written time. The damage was already done in the Chibnall era. It's been limping on ever since. But RTD just came in with a wrecking ball and decided to finish it off. You know, and it does seem deliberate, and it's a thing that I've spoken about on this channel quite a lot. It does actually seem deliberate. It's like he brought the show back and he kind of never wanted anybody else to kind of continue after him by the sounds of things. So to make sure and guarantee that it's going to be harder for the BBC to bring it back. Sure, listen to his statement that I read. Go back and listen. Right, will the TARDIS return? Will the blue box return? You know, he's actually mocking it. He knows he's done damage to it. Right? And why would he make those comments? It's the people that own the rights to the TARDIS, the estate. Are they up in arms over what's happened? And that's why he's making comments in relation to the theme music and the TARDIS. Have people finally behind the scenes that own these things connected to the show finally had enough, the estates finally had enough and said enough is enough. It's a bit of a strange thing to say. That's all I'm saying. Sky, I used to be the Dream Team. I used to watch that myself. Man. That show was bleeding mad. I mean, a whole football team and all tragically, you know, disappeared. It's mad, that show. That was deadly though. Dream Team. Anyway, look, I can really say on it. There's no more. I've said everything that needs to be said over the years as well. This day was always going to happen. I just didn't think it would be in the middle of 2026. I thought it would have been a long time before now that they finally put a stop to this nonsense. But they've waited until June. You know, they've lied since they made the announcement about the Christmas special, right? That's what RTD has actually said. Because they didn't know the future, they laid out all of this bullshit, right, to make it look like there was a future for the show because they were uncertain. But now RTD has explained that they do know now with certainty the future. So now that is why he's coming out and telling us that he lied to everybody about scripts being written, right? People being cast, right? And then this whole production was halted for Billie Piper nonsense. Look, there'll be loads of people out there with egg on their face today. There'll be a lot of people out there sad. There'll be a lot of people out there angry. Right? I can tell you the other side is angry. They will point fingers at the wrong people instead of looking at themselves. But we're only here because of them and because of their support of Chibnall and RTD too. We tried to warn them. It's why I started this channel in the first place. Right? I have stayed true to myself for the whole thing. And I can at least say that that's something that I'm proud of. That I never wavered. I was critical because I care. And I'll continue to be critical if they make the wrong decisions. Because the bottom line is that if you've put as much effort into a show as I have and other fans that are older than me have and all you guys have, well, we at least deserve the respect of the people that are writing this show and for the last few years, these people have shown nothing but utter contempt for us fans. So they deserve this today. Those fans that supported this, you deserve this today, right? We told you, we tried to warn you, and all you wanted to do was abuse and send death threats to people that were willing to stand up and speak up about what was happening to Doctor Who and all the agenda that they were pushing. Right? And I was right. I said if they continue down this path, it didn't matter. They're dragging a dead horse through the mud. Right? And that's what they have done these last couple of years. And that's exactly what happened. The show has just dragged on when it should have been put out of his misery after the Chris Chibnall era. Right? After that disaster, BBC should have cancelled it. And they did cancel it, by the way. But they didn't stick with the cancellation because, of course, Mr. RTD pops in with Bad Wolf, and then Disney are offering 100 million. I mean, you're going to take it. You're going to do it. It's just that BBC should have realised that bringing RTD back was the biggest backfire of all time. And I'm glad they've parted ways. And I hope it was bitter. And I hope the BBC are angry, because they should fucking be. And so should Disney for wasting 100 million. And as I've said before, I don't know why Disney haven't sued this man, haven't sued Bad Wolf Studios. It was negligence what he done to Doctor Who. Negligence, pure and fucking simple. He done it out of spite. He done it out of anger. He done it out of bitterness, because he's angry at the world and he's angry at anybody that criticises him. Right? As I've said before, right, he does have an audience, but I've noticed, right, that his talent has waned over the years, right? And he hates being criticised. And when he gets criticised, he becomes this nasty person. And that's all he's ever been since he returned to this Doctor Who world. He's been just nasty. Nasty piece of work, right? Attacked fans directly, told fans to F off, has come out with statements that are outrageous. Yeah, it deserved this. But on the other hand, I am actually gutted, because we don't know how long this show is off the air now. And Doctor Who, another thing, you know, it's like every day another piece of me joy is just taken away, whether it be politics or ideology, but something takes over it. Right? It's the same with football. You can't watch a football match now without someone bleeding, you know, making a political message. You know, they have to do so. Right? Yeah, escapism is officially gone. Right? You can't turn on the TV and escape from all the madness of the world anymore. It's in your face. So, yeah, for that reason, I'm glad Doctor Who is off air. But if they're willing to do it right, if they're willing to go back to basics and put the right people in charge, I'll be here waiting, like a lot of Doctor Who fans, for the next chapter, if there is a next chapter. And I hope there is a next chapter. That's one thing. The positive thing that I will say, I do hope there is a next chapter of Doctor Who. But if there isn't, so be it. But I remain optimistic that one day it'll come back. Whether it's in the next few years, like some have tried to predict, or maybe it's a decade from now, right? We will see what happens. Anyway, as I said, on Friday, we will be having a live stream where I'll be doing a panel. If you want to be part of that panel, then come and join me on Friday. As I said, I did read Lee's post that he threw up at the very start of the stream, because I want to remind people that it was Lee on this channel that broke the news that Bad Wolf was out. So again, you know, as I said, right, as I said, this channel here gets stick, right? I get stick, right? People that guessed get stick. But there's one thing I will say about this channel that I am confident about. Whether it's me or whether it's a guest that I have on, like Lee, right? The one thing that you're going to get on this channel is honesty, right? And more than likely, you're going to get the facts, right? Okay? We've been doing this a long time, right? Now, there's new people doing it now, and they've decided to go a different route, you know, be a bit more aggressive and tell blatant lies, right? Okay, coming out with comments that their source is the only source that's telling the truth, and the media is lying, the newspapers are lying, and everybody else is lying. Show was put on hold for Billie Piper, blah, 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 blah. All bullshit, right? But the one thing you will get on this channel, as I said, is any information that we've ever gotten. We don't just put it out straight away. As it says, Lee would have done his due diligence before he said anything, right? Just like I've always done, and just like Dan does on his channel. Due diligence, right? We don't put out stuff for the sake of putting out stuff. And the thing about it is as well, as we always say, right, there comes a point where I'll say something or Lee will say something or whatever over the years, and then the media will report on it then eventually, and then it turns out to be exactly what we said. So again, want to acknowledge Lee, because he was on this channel. He's going to go back, he's given the date, he's going to go back and actually watch that stream, and you'll hear everything that he said. And he was spot on. He said it from the very beginning, what was going on with Bad Wolf. And RTD was gone. And of course, as we know out there in this world, then eventually others were talking about it. Of course, the media were speculating quite a lot. And then you got the other side, you know, telling blatant lies. No, but listen, hardest time. The bottom line is they don't have insider information. I said it out straight. You know me, I don't beat around the bush here, right? They don't have any source information. It was made up bullshit, right? As I said, and I had a bit of a laugh about this, when I saw that this person was reporting that they were putting production on hold for Billie Piper, I never laughed so loud in all my life. And Lee will back me up here. Me and Lee have done this for a long time. We've heard some whopper rumors out there and whopper, like, crazy stuff, right? Stupid stuff. But I never heard anything so stupid as I heard coming from that, right? To actually beat your chest out, right, and actually say that production is put on hold. Everybody else is lying. My information's right. Production's put on hold for Billie Piper. I never heard something so stupid in all my life and so funny. Because there's no way that they would be putting the show on hold for Billie Piper. Now, if it was an actor that they really wanted to get to play the Doctor, for example, right, and they knew that that actor was interested in playing the Doctor, then you could understand them putting production on hold until they get the Doctor that they want. But to actually say that they put production on hold for Billie fucking Piper, right? And then after they did that video, then Dragon Con announced that she was doing Dragon Con in mid-September, like, which totally blew that bullshit rumor out of the water. Now, I've checked, they haven't posted in about 5 days or something. Gone awfully quiet. And then didn't name me directly, but said a loudmouth channel out there. You can call me loudmouth all you want. I'm doing this longer than you. And I know you are a bullshit artist from day one. And I know who the bullshit artists are. It's very clear. Right? People, I could come on here tomorrow now right? And make up this fantastical story that Doctor Who is coming back and name actors and all of this potential blah, 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 and call it rumor and speculation, right? And that's how you kind of get away with this kind of thing, right? But the fact that you said that the media are wrong and you have inside, like you've literally, listen, I know you'll continue after this because you're another grifter. You always find a way, like the Doomcocks of the world. You'll find a way of getting away with this and fooling your audience and getting your subscribers to believe everything that comes out of your mouth. That's fine. That's fine. But at the end of the day, you'll run out of steam. You'll run out of steam. People will see you for what you are. The bottom line is that the fact of the matter is, if you have to lie and make up shit to try chase an audience and try chase those viewers, well, then you're doing it for the wrong thing, because you're certainly not doing it for the love of the show. Gallifrey Base and Reddit have all lost all credibility. Well, they have now. And this is the thing, a lot of these grifters and these charlatans will use Gallifrey Base and Reddit and then repackage it as their own insider information. It's actually quite funny. It's actually quite funny. At the end of the day, as I said earlier on, I can brag a little bit here, but this channel is the GOAT when it comes to Doctor Who rumours. Always has been, and information, right? And whether it's me coming out with stuff or whether it's Lee, the people that I have on are reliable, right? It's as simple as that, okay? And, you know, again, because we've been doing it a long time, we can sniff out the bullshit artists straight away. It's because we have been doing it a long time, and we know how the whole thing works. And, you know, when again, you're called out for your information and you're desperate to prove everybody right as well. Now, I used to do that at the start, admittedly, right? Because I hate the fact that people call me lawyers, but then I didn't give a damn, right? Then I didn't give a damn. Because at the end of the day, you let your information speak for itself. If you have to keep defending your information, right, then you're a bullshit artist. And that's what they do. But they'll come up with another narrative and spin, as I said. They will use the AMC deal that they've done for 2005 Doctor Who all the way up to Peter Capaldi to kind of spin some nonsense that the show's put out the tender, but we've been told that AMC are going to blah, 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 this, that, and the other. They'll only be speculating and making shit up, right? The BBC statement and RTD statement is actually clear. They have nobody lined up, okay? So anybody claiming that they have anybody lined up out there is a bullshit artist, right? Anyway, enough talking about amateurs. TARDIS on forever. All these other channels are run by narcissists who want to be the Doctor Who channel and make up lies that they were the first to know things. Still waiting for my apologies from my doubters who accuse me of lying. Will I get them? No. Do I care? Not really. No, well, we don't, do we? I mean, these people should apologize, but they'll never apologize, Lee. But look, the best thing about it is their community, the community we've built up. You know, people know that we've been honest with them. You know, we don't, as I said, we're not ones for bullshit. Do you know what I mean? Hi, Noel. I'm glad the panel will be coming back. Yeah, we'll have a panel on Friday. It'll probably be 6 o'clock. Between 6 and 7. More than likely it'll be 6. It'll be for an hour because I went over way too long on this stream, but it was worth it because, you know, we know now definitively that there's no Christmas special, and you know, the future of the show is up in the air. So obviously we were going to talk about it. I shouldn't set deadlines for myself when I come on for these streams. I said I was only doing an hour. It never transpires. Nice to hear your voice again, Noel. Thank you very much. We've been doing bits and pieces on the channel. As I said, I don't want to stream for the sake of streaming. I want to come on and stream because there's something to talk about. Do you know what I mean? Because it wouldn't be fair to you guys. But we're going to have to come up with a plan now moving forward, because the show now is officially, we may as well say, on hiatus at the moment. Good night, everybody. See you Friday, says Nicholas. We will see you on Friday, lad. I mean, next time, says Nicholas Horn. Do you still have contact with Ballstreck? Of course I do, yeah. Obviously, we don't talk as often as we used to, because Ballstreck is busy. Yeah, he does have a busy life. And he does stream with Dan, I think, every Friday as well. So he has been busy. But, you know, I'll put up a post on X or whatever, and I'll throw him the odd message, and he throws me the odd message. It's not like it was in the old days. Just like it's in the way, and people are doing a lot of things. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I'd still talk to him. Sure, he was doing these videos, and I was commenting on them because I was watching them. I do miss his videos. He should do a lot more content on his channel. I do miss him streaming, to be quite honest, on his own channel. Tiredest Owen never sold his soul and never let us down, says Tiredest Time. I really appreciate that. Listen, the bottom line is, as I said, there's a lot of YouTubers out there that did sell their soul and did get involved with the production team and got very close and pally with them. And as I said, if I had been offered that chance, I wouldn't have done it. Not in a million years. Because you can't buy me. You're not going to buy my loyalty. Right? The bottom line is, just do what you're supposed to fucking do. That's how you buy me loyalty. Right? Time to put the chimney air in the RTD era and restart. I don't know, but to be honest, I had a massive row with that man. I do not like him, and he proved to be what a narcissist he is to me. That's all I'll say on the matter. He's a user. Yes, I'll agree with you on that. I mean, to come up with the bullshit that you were rebranding your channel, that's why you weren't going to bring me on anymore, but you just didn't have the balls to say that you didn't want me on your channel anymore, and I would have respected you for that. But the fact that you went that way about it just proves how much of a fucking coward he actually is. And he ever tries to come at me over all of this, he can. But the bottom line is it's not going to end well for him and his channel, because you know, I don't take too lightly to lawyers out there and accusing people of putting out bullshit when you're the one that's putting out bullshit. Imagine trying to say that the media is wrong as well. Like, I just don't get it. Well, come on, you chase your clicks, you chase your views, right? You make your money, because that's what you're interested in. You're not actually interested in talking about Doctor Who for talking about Doctor Who. You just want to talk about Doctor Who and talk about everything surrounding it to make money. Well, you're going to be in a bit of bother now, because there's no show. So what are you going to talk about? You won't be able to do your sensational headlines now, because there is nothing to talk about. Yeah, on this day, I well done, Matthew. Well done, Matthew. Yeah. I think it is fitting, actually, because, you know, we've lost a lot of people along the way on this journey, on this channel. Alpha Omega as well. John White. Plenty more people that we know connected to other channels as well, that bounced in and out of all of our different communities. We've lost a lot of people along the way, who are no longer with us. And these people also fought and spoke up for Doctor Who, and I think it is actually fitting that we do remember those lads who gave it all for this fight. And it wasn't just with Doctor Who, it was with things that were happening in society as well. You know, we all fight different parts of this battle. You know, social and pop culture, they're intertwined anyway. But a lot of people that originally start talking about Doctor Who branched out into actual mainstream politics because, as I said, it was all interlinked, and John White was one of those as well. And of course, we had plenty of conversations behind the scenes with Alpha Omega when we did streams, and we'd have a laugh. He used to watch, God love him, he used to watch me UFC streams, and he used to call me Superfoot because my favorite tactic playing UFC was using the leg kicks to basically beat my opponents because I was shy at punching. So I used to just keep kicking all the time, and so I'd build up all the levels for the feet, for the leg kicks and all of that, and I'd literally knock people out. And he used to call me Superfoot. It was a little nickname. So yeah, he turned up at any stream I did, whether it was Doctor Who, whether it was a FIFA stream, or even, as I said, a UFC stream. He was there. Alpha Omega was always there. And you know, the one thing I am grateful for is obviously me and John White, as you know, did have a big falling out. But I am glad that before he even got sick and stuff, we reconciled and we start talking again, because that would have been a bit rough, in fairness, because you know the arguments that we had were fucking silly anyway. You know what I mean? You know what happens? Two adults have a fucking argument, the snowballs, and fucking both sides are stubborn. And I am a stubborn person, you know that. But I think John White was more stubborn than I was. But that's why we clashed. We were both staunch in our opinions, and none of us would back fucking down. But that's the type of people that I liked around me. People that challenged me and vice versa, you know. So yeah, a lot of people. Liv, of course, was very close to them as well, and of course, I've clobbering times as well. I mean, it's just clobbering times was just so. That was so sudden, that one. And again, another channel that wasn't always in me chat, but always supported me on his channel. If I went into his chat, he'd give me a shout out. He'd come in. If he was even streaming on his own channel, he'd come in and he'd say hello and wish me the best of luck for when I was doing a live stream. And he said he'd catch you later, you know, and then he'd leave the odd comment on me streams as well. He was a good guy. We've lost so many good people. I know I'm a stubborn fuck. Alpha Omega, yeah. Yeah. We used to take the piss out of each other. Fucking something fierce, didn't we? Ah, man. Well, we all know what the three of them would be saying anyway today. They would be saying, well, I'm not surprised. That's one thing we can actually say, is that we know them that well, that we know that they wouldn't have been surprised. And I'm telling you, they actually would have enjoyed today in terms of they got to speak about it and stuff, and it would have been highly passionate from the three of them anyway. it is actually sad when you look back the amount of people we started the journey with, and the amount of people that aren't here, even those who walked away as well. You know, I do think about them as well today. You know, we mightn't always agreed, or some of them mightn't have liked the way I went about things on the channel, and they couldn't come on the channel anymore. That's fine, but I do think about them today because, you know, we all went on a journey together at some point, and somewhere along the line, you know, it's just life. Different things happen, and either people fade away or people are no longer here. But it does get you thinking. It's been a long, long journey. And normally this is where I'd say, well, this is where the journey ends, and I may as well pack it in because there's nothing else to talk about in relation to Doctor Who now that it's on hiatus. But that's not going to happen. Just like the show, you know, nothing is completely dead. So we'll carry on. We'll come up with new ideas for streams. There'll be plenty of stuff to talk about still. I'm pretty sure this conversation will go on for a while anyway. And then maybe we might, you know, we'll see what the reviews are like for Toddler Who, just to kind of get a grasp of how BBC are handling that. Maybe we'll have some comments on that. But look, to everybody that stuck by me, to everybody that's no longer with us, I just want to thank you all for playing your part on this channel, or for being a part of this channel, I should say. It's meant a lot. And, you know, I probably couldn't have done it without the moral support of a lot of you. So I won't mention, because it's a long list, but you all know who you are. You all know what you did for me, and some of you stuck your necks out more than others, but you all kept me sane, I suppose, throughout all of this when I was getting all of the hassle and grief, and I'll be forever grateful for that. But we are on to a new chapter now, and the past is the past now, so we can look forward, maybe with a little tiny bit of optimism now that Bad Wolf is completely gone. But it is bittersweet. It didn't have to be. That's what annoys me. And that's the thing that's constantly in my head. And I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but I have this running thing up in my head all the time that it didn't need to be this way. That was actually, they could actually fix it. And that's the thought that I'm going away with, is it didn't have to be this way. Yeah, well, I'm glad he's out on his fucking ear anyway. That's one thing we can celebrate, that piece of shit is gone, right? And I'm sorry if people think I'm being over dramatic, but if you do what RTD did to Doctor Who, right, and you know that kids are watching that show, right, it's a family show, well then, as far as I'm concerned, you're a disgusting human being. Should never have had anything to do with Doctor Who. This time round anyway. People will argue that he should never have touched Doctor Who at all. That'll be a debate for another time, but he certainly shouldn't have been brought back for his second stint. It was the worst decision, and whoever actually made that critical decision. I hope they're looking at themselves in the mirror as well, because by God, you fucked up big time. You fucked up big time. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for the support for over 10 years. I think it's 11 years now this year anyway. I think it's October. I think it is. I have to check again. But we're doing it a long time. I just want to thank you all again for sharing this and going this journey with me. But I want to end on a happy note and say that if you go onto YouTube, you will see wonderful videos of Tom Baker just recently out and about, going to his little pub. I remember we saw photographs a couple of months back. Well, he was back out again, out and about, looking absolutely brilliant, right? Still got his wits about him. Walking into the pub, obviously he has people there to help, but walking in with it, like still walking, right? Looking majestic. The man is a living legend, lads, right? He's a fucking living legend. Go. That'll put a smile. If anything else, man, if you go and watch those videos, Real Super Doctor put them in our chat. He did. If he's still here in the chat there, if you wouldn't mind putting those videos up in the comment section there for people to actually see those videos, then please put them up, because I swear to God, he just put such a, with all the shite that's going on, right? Seeing Tom Baker in those videos, even if it was only for a couple of seconds, put a huge smile on my face. He's a living legend. He is. Yeah. So that's all I really have to say. I don't want to ramble on now, because I've probably rambled on for long enough. But look, we saw this coming. It wasn't hard to figure out what they were going to, what was going to happen. But again, Lee, with the support as always, I really appreciate it. Thank you. We will be back on Friday. Lee obviously will be joining me. I think Jack is going to be joining me as well. If there's any other people that want to join me, get into the chat. I will be putting it in the live stream. And as I said, you know, someone actually tried to come on. I think it was a troll, but I sorted that. They weren't coming on. It's only regulars only for now. And if actually, if I think Stephen has been asking to come on as well. Stephen, if you hear this and if you're around on Friday, you're more than welcome to join us on that panel as well, because I know you've been itching to come on the last couple of weeks, so we will make that happen. So I'll see you on Friday. If it's not 6 o'clock, it'll be 7. I'll put the stream up. When the stream is up, you'll know what time it's on, but it'll be, just so you know, it'll be around about 6 or 7. And I'll only be able to go for about an hour now, because I've done 2 hours and 35 fucking minutes. So we will try to get everybody's opinion on the panel. I will try to get everybody to get their opinion across and give their thoughts on what's going on. But until then, I will talk to you. I would say enjoy the rest of your day, but, you know, I mean, let's be honest with you. I mean, on one hand, it is bittersweet. The show's not going to be damaged anymore, but still, it has ended. It has ended. So, you know, I might actually watch a couple of episodes today or tonight, just to see how I feel. But we'll do something in the future. As I said, we might do an adventure in space and time. I think it'd be pretty fitting to actually do that. To do the original Matt Smith version of it. Maybe do that and do an Unearthly Child then maybe a week later or something, just to kind of, you know, and maybe do Peter Capaldi's last one. Just maybe, I don't know, I'm thinking a bit of closure for some people and stuff like that. You know, might be a nice thing to do. Anyway, let me know in the comment section if you'd like me to do that. If you do, then I'll do it, of course. So until then, listen, enjoy the rest of your evening if you can. And I'll talk to you on Friday. Anyway, fuck you, RTD, and thank you very much. Thanks. We appreciate what you've done. Yeah. In fairness, you know, he did what we wanted. You know, we thought Chips was going to, you know, scrape the barrel, but he actually proved what scraped the barrel actually is, RTD. So I suppose we can be grateful that this shit show is finally over. So, you know, I'm not saying we should kiss his ass, but, you know, it's gone now. So we'll see what happens. Now, be careful not to run out. I'll be fine. We'll figure it out. If I have to stream on my phone, I will. Nothing's going to stop me from continuing to stream anyway. We should be okay. I should have a few more hours left anyway, because we've only been doing short streams anyway. And any videos that I've done have been done on my phone, so don't interfere with the time that I have. I'm trying to be clever about it. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. Anyway, lads, I'm out. And ladies, talk to you tomorrow, well, Friday. See, I'm even forgetting now. Again, I'll go over the BBC statement again on Friday's stream. We will read RTD's smug and arrogant statement as well, or he doesn't give two fucks statement, and we will then take a closer look at Toddler, because apparently there is a little information on that, not too much, but we will cover that as well, because it is Doctor Who after all. So I'll see you on Friday. So as Matthew said, good riddance. Well, not good riddance to you, but good riddance to RTD. Anyway, have a good one. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. I'm going to make a sandwich. Goodbye.